There's a thing about your desires and manifestations that once you declare it, something magical happens. And there's a special place in the quantum field for it, which technically means it's already done. Now, all you have to do is bridge the gap between it coming to you faster. Now, don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean you have to go hustle yourself to death, to get it to you. That's not what manifestation or the law of attraction is. Your actions will support your manifestations, and there's a much easier way to do this, and I'm going to share those techniques with you today. This channel was designed to help you have a shift with your relationship with money. Now, if this content that you like, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe button, and the bell so that you can be notified when I'm dropping a new video. So first of all, if you have a desire, that means it already exists in the quantum field. So whatever it is, doesn't matter how outrageous it is, it exists. And your desires, even consciously or subconsciously, are being created. They end up being law right now. And all we need to do is reverse engineer this so that we can get you closer to the thing that you want. And if you know that it already exists and it is in the quantum field, what do you need to do moving backwards, reverse engineer it, to get you to this outcome faster? Because right now, we just have the decision that it is done. It's because if a desire is there, it means it exists in the quantum field. And the first step is believing that it exists and knowing that it is already created in the quantum field for you. And if you know that it's there, just like, shopping from Amazon, you know that it exists, how would you show up knowing it's on its way to you? Those are the steps that you need to take. So our desires aren't separate from us. I always equate desires to being the thing that is connected to our soul self, our emotional self. It is a thing that's unique to us. And, we can't justify desires. We can't explain them. They're just there. We want the things and desire the things that we want, and there's no justification for them. It leads us to create this bigger vision that we have going on in our lives. And our desires are different from, like, say, goals. Desires are connected to our emotions. This is why I teach emotional mastery, because goals are just like in our head. What do we think we have to do? Where desires are like, well, I just desire it. It comes from my soul. I'd love to have the thing. When we have the desire actualized in our life, how is it going to make us feel? So for anything that we're after or desire to have in our life, it's how it's going to make us feel, right? That is really, really important. So when we connect to that emotion of how it's going to make us feel, we attract our desire much quicker and faster to us. And so we're actually simulating that outcome. Like, wouldn't it be amazing for this? So when you hear to feel it real, basically it's like you're in this state of having that thing already. So you're simulating it already existing inside of you. You create the reality of it already being there. And this is how you actually collapse the time. The only times we feel separate from our desires is if we feel like it doesn't exist or it's not obtainable. It's like way too hard to have. Or if our current reality keeps telling us, hey, we don't have that thing, it's not here right now, and you just keep believing it, which you shouldn't do. Because all it's doing is reconfirming old beliefs, things that aren't true, telling you to be afraid, it's not showing up, it's not here now. And so then you get into that desperate state, which does not actually help you bring in the thing you want faster to you. And this is what energetically basically sets us back, from having the thing. Things go slower, we slow down time, and we want to get our manifestations fast. So even though around you can't see it now, you've got to get into the state of that it's on its way to you, right? And even though you don't have evidence of it yet, sometimes what I used to do is I would look at someone else who had the thing that I wanted, and I'm like, well, she can have it, so I can have it. That's where I came up with the mantra of she can, I can. So if she can have that, I can have that. So come up with the things to get your mind into the state of, yeah, it's on its way to me, it's coming to me. And, I remember when people say, well, I don't know what it feels like to have, $1 million. I don't know what it feels like. Well, start with something smaller to make you feel in that state. Because the thing that you want, if you have a desire, know that it exists. It is already yours. If that desire is truly connected to you, you feel it. Like sometimes people tell me, I don't know why I desire this. It's okay. You don't have to justify your desires to anybody. That's the beauty of it. A lot of the times when people go to buy something, some red bottom shoes or something else, will be like, well, I can use it for this, it could be for this, and they're justifying it. Desires, we don't have to justify. You just get to have it just because. That's it. You desire it. And when you desire it, you know that it already exists in the quantum field. That's the beauty of it. Take that power with you. So we can act right now as if we have the desires. I'm going to tell you how. And you don't have to wait for the thing to come in for you to feel the emotion. We're always trying to simulate the emotion that we would have when we have the thing. So I can give you an example. I remember when I was doing this work and I would see people going to really, really fancy restaurants, Capital Grill was one of them. And I'm like, one day I'm gonna go eat at Capital Grill, I'm gonna pay for the bill. And my biggest thing is to pay for everybody. Like when I didn't have any money, my biggest desire was that I was gonna always pay for everybody, fly everybody everywhere, pick up the bill. I was that lady. That's how I looked at wealth. So before I actually went to Capital Grill and paid for everybody, which did happen, and I went to another place, Prime, in Miami, and paid for everything, and it was like, $1,000 for the bill. Before I did that though, I would go to Capital Grill or restaurants that were like it, and maybe go there, sit at the, they have a bar area, and get an appetizer or get something smaller and get maybe one glass of wine or whatever it was. But I would simulate myself going to Capital Grill, because that would be starting the belief system that this is where I am. I'm coming to these places. I'm already here. So these are the small little actions you can take. And if you can't get into Capital Grill to even have a glass of wine, or, if you don't drink, or just anything, non-alcoholic beverage, or go in there to have, a salad or an appetizer, where else can you go that can help you simulate it? So a lot of my clients were afraid at first to go into Louis Vuitton because it seemed overwhelming because they're a designer store. But maybe it's just walking in there, taking a walk. Maybe it's buying a little clutch at first. Maybe it's something very small before you work your way up to a handbag. Hermes has a thing, which is for another video, about how you get, one of their little pretty bags, but they actually have you start off small and work your way up, to get into that ownership. So same kind of idea, because we want you to be able to start simulating the thing now. Like, how can you start assimilating that you are in this state, having these emotions, so that when the thing does arrive, you already are in the state of the emotions. And look, the fastest way to mess this up is to basically go into a desperate state and really I don't know where the money is, just freaking out, or, having a place where, let's say you do go to the restaurant and you're buying something small. Wow, this is so expensive, or I can't afford anything here, or putting yourself out of the state of, I had a client once, and she wanted to start dating, and I said, take yourself out on a date. And she's like, you know what, I will. So she started dating herself. And this is actually probably a really good thing to do too, if you want to go on dates. So she would get a babysitter for her kids, and she would get into her little black dress, and she would go out to a restaurant, local restaurant, and she would buy dinner for herself at the bar or wherever it was. But she would put herself in a state of what she wanted to create. And sure enough, her Prince Charming did come along. So it's like, are you open to receiving? Are you in the act of? Are you in the emotional state? Are you being in that energy? You don't necessarily have to go on these dating apps and date, 100 frogs before you find your guy. Maybe it's just you going into the state of expecting that he's going to show up. Just a small example of showing you how you can start taking action now and act as if it's already done. The key to it feeling like it's done is for your behavior to reflect that it's done. So when you take these actions, you're just like, of course this is done. Of course it's on its way. Of course this is here. Of course I'm experiencing it now. It's like feeling into this doneness of it's already mine. And this is where a lot of people have a hard time with this part. You think it'd be easy, but a lot of times people are looking like, well, their analytical mind's like, well, it's not here. And this is why they say it's got to be delulu a little bit. But if you can take actions and then this act shows that it's done, well, then this is where you're going to get into that conviction. And well, there it is. You're going to reconfirm the belief that it's already done because it is done. Make sense? And when you do this and you get into the state when it's done, you create now an energetic alignment, but then this momentum picks up because you're in the state, you're feeling it, it's done. Okay, bring me more, I'm here. And it's just like, all right, what else you got, right? Keep giving it to me because you're already in the state of it being done. You're taking action that's done. I mean, it's done. It's done. So much of this is identity shift work that you have to do. It's like, are you changing and thinking and feeling the way you are right now so you can shift into the version of you that has all the things that you desire? We are not separate from our desires. We're just getting into the version of ourselves that has this desires, especially that version of us in the quantum field. How is she acting? Who is she thinking? He or whoever's listening, what is the state? Who are you being? Because this is so important. I'm going to repeat this over and over and over and over again. Get into that state. How are you going to wake up the woman or the man who has everything that they want? What are you doing daily? How are you acting? Where's your mindset at? Get into that identity shift of that person. And guess what? It's going to come to you way faster. That version of you, she knows and he knows that they always get what they want, and the things that they desire are on their way to them because they're in an abundance. They already feel into it. This is real. This is happening. It's done. So lack is never going to create what you're doing. A feeling of it's missing is never going to create it. But a feeling like, hey, it's already done and it's here, that's going to compound and create more of it to come to you. So this is the trick. This is what you have to do. Stay in this state, be in this state. It's going to come to you. I always feel like everything I want is in the quantum field, like right here. So who do I need to be so that this can come to me? That's all I ever ask myself. You just need to shift and embody the belief system of that version of you that has everything that they want, that's already done. I mean, that's it. Now, if you need help with that, you can come work with me in one of my programs. You can email my team at support@shaminataylor.com. I'm going to help you quantum leap really fast because we've got the programs and tools to get you there. And if you want, you can get started with my book, Unlocking the Quantum Woman. Even if you're a man, read this book. It's got a workbook inside of it. It's going to help you. This book is changing lives, and this is really going to teach you how to access the quantum field, which I've been talking to you about the whole time. And I do believe it's through emotional mastery, because when you can feel it real, guess what? That stuff shows up like that. Also, if you want, you can come join our Quantum Woman group on Facebook. Great group. And if you haven't tuned into my podcast yet, Unapologetically Rich, you should go subscribe and go binge that, because that will change your life. And don't forget to leave your girl a 5-star review. Also, one other thing, we've got a 3-day masterclass coming up. And if you are a business owner, this masterclass is for you. We're going to show you how to quantum leap your income and your business and your life. So you should go ahead and opt in for that. And go check the description. We have lots of things that we're going to help you with, because I just want to help you get those things that you want faster. Quantum leap them. It's possible. All right, stay tuned for the next video. Bye for now.